Hello all, welcome to Revisiting Android Application Security course by Encyphers. My name is Farhad Sajid and I will be your course mentor for today's lecture on revisiting Android application security. On today's lecture, we'll be going ahead and looking into platform overview, right? And in platform overview, we'll be specifically talking about Android security architecture. Now, Android runs in a two-tier security model, which is a combination of Linux-based privilege separation model and Android-based permission model, right? And both of this model runs parallelly to each other. Now, if you see, the Linux goes ahead and provides the overall security to the different application processes that are running inside the Android system and mapping each of the app to their respective unique user IDs and group IDs based on the application and permission they ask from the Android file system. Whereas the Android-based permission model provides the permission that app asks for. So if you remember, or if you have noticed, whenever you go ahead and install an application, you might seen application asking for permission to access internet, Bluetooth, make calls, or access contacts or files, and so forth, right? Now, as I said, the Android operating system is based on Linux. Even though it is based on Linux, there is a very interesting thing that it doesn't implement user accounts in the same way other Unix like systems, right? So in other Unix like system, you won't find the multi-user support, right? But in Android, it supports multi-user. So the multi-user support of the Linux kernel is used to go ahead and sandbox applications with a few exceptions, but each of these applications run as though they are under a separate Linux user, and that is achievable because over here in Android we have multi-user support of the Linux kernel. Now this in turn helps in effectively isolating one app from another, right? And from the rest of the operating system, right? Now, if you see, this is what your uh, predefined users and group system process looks like, right? So if you notice over here, we have AID underscore root, which GID value or group value is 0. Then we have AID system 100, 1000, and then radio for 1001, Bluetooth for 1002. And similarly for Bluetooth, where we go ahead and create a socket, we have 3001 and rest of them. So this is how the user and the group are represented in Android, right? And these are the users. So you can see these are all the list of users and their group IDs for the system, right? All right, now let's quickly go ahead and see how Linux-based privilege separation model is enforced in Android. We'll look into permission model as per the need arised in the upcoming lectures, but for the timing, we'll only focus on Linux-based privilege separation model in today's content. So I am running a Corellium-based device over here. So let's quickly go ahead and connect to my Corellium device. So let me just say ADB connect, and it should say it's already connected. So let me go ahead and do ADB shell, and I have shell of my Android device, right? Once I have the shell of my Android device, all the packages are installed inside data/data directory. So if I go inside data and do an ls, I should find another data directory, which is this one. So let's go ahead and do cd data here on the screen. And if I do an ls, you can see all the packages, right? com.ecards and keys, WebView, wallpaper, system UI, and all of them. So let's go into com.ecards and keys. Let me clear up the screen. Let me say cd com dot records and keys, and now if I do ls, these are all the files and folders. If I do ls-la, and you can see the user ID that basically, or the user that owns this particular package, that is ecards and keys, is u0 underscore a11. So that simply means the user ID value is 10111, right? 10111 or 111. Similarly, you can go ahead and see other user IDs. other packages user IDs. So for example, let's go ahead and see um, maybe the WebView one, android.webview. So let's go ahead and say cd com.android.webview. Clear up the screen. Let me do ls-la, and you can see the user ID for this is u0 underscore a82, right, which basically stands for 10082, right. Similarly, you can also go ahead and explore other packages. I do an ls. Let's see if I can find any other, maybe the phone one, com.android.phone. So let me say cd com.android.phone, and over here if I do ls-la, you can see this is basically owned by a user called radio, right, or user value radio. So if I go back out and see any other app, maybe um, maybe the gallery 3D. So let me say cd into com dot android dot gallery 3D. Clear up the screen. Let me do ls-la, and you can see over here the user is u0 underscore a77, that is 10077, right. So this is how you basically derive the value of user ID out from here, right. Apart from that, we can also find the respective group IDs. So let me head back to my uh, com.ecards and keys. So let me say cd com.ecards and keys, right. And so there are two ways to go ahead and get hold of the group ID. One, you get hold of the process ID of this respective process that is running. So when you spawn up this particular app, eCards and keys, it will obviously have its respective process ID. Now, either you can go ahead and do ps-aux to get hold of the process ID, or you can use Frida to get hold of the process ID. But in Corellium, they have went ahead and integrated Frida. Okay, so in case you are not using Corellium or Genymotion or any other emulators, or you are using your own device, of course you can use ps-aux or use Frida to get hold of the process ID. But this is one of a fantastic feature that Corellium has integrated. So over here I can search for eCards and keys, and I can see the process ID value is 2578. So what I can do is I can go ahead and basically do a cat inside proc. So let me do one thing. Let me go ahead and get inside proc directory, cd proc. Inside the proc directory, I should go inside that respective process ID 2578. Inside that respective process ID directory, I should have a file called status. So if I do an ls, you should see a file called status over here. So let's go ahead and do cat status. And if we move up, you can see the user ID value, as I said, it's 10111, right. And the group ID value is also 10111, right. So normally apps will be assigned AID above 10,000, and the GUID will be same as the AID. Okay, so whatever the respective user ID is, the GUID will be also same, right. So over here you can notice the value of UID is 10111, and the value of group ID is 10111, right. And this is from where you come to get your name, that is U0 underscore A1111, right, if you guys remember. So this is how you get that particular related name, right. Other than that, you can see that we have another group value which shows this is 3003. So this is supplementary group IDs, right? And this supplementary group ID is being basically uh, um, granted, and it is related with the what app permission that has been granted, right? So it is related to what permission this has have been granted, right? So there is other way to go ahead and look around it. So if you want to find out, so if you can go ahead. So let me open another tab over here, or maybe I can go back to other tab. So let me close this one. All right. So let me go ahead and quickly map the permission and the group IDs that I was talking about. So over here, let me go ahead and say ADB shell, and I can use the dumsys package to show the permissions granted for my cards and keys application. So I can say dumsys and give the package com.ecards and keys. And when I do that, so if I go up, so over here you can find the user ID, that is 10111, and that is exactly that we saw over here, 10111. And then you can find the supplementary group ID values somewhere below. So if I go down, you can find GID is equal to 3003, which is exactly what you encountered over here, right? So this is how you can get hold of the group IDs and user ID of the respective uh, app and their respective group values, right? So that's all in mind I had for this particular lecture, right? And hope you enjoyed it. In case you have any queries or any questions, feel free to drop us an email at our help@encyphers.com or send us a message at our chat platform. Thank you very much, and I will see you in the upcoming.